What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I want to break down what's going on with the Tesla, SPY, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers, and give you guys a very quick update on how the market is looking. But before I break into the devil's information, let me just mention a couple of things. Firstly, I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo, the link down below, and deposit $100 into the account, you are guaranteed 5 free stocks. You deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed up to 15 free stocks, and the offer ends very soon. Anyways, when it comes to the market, SPY is on a very nice uptrend, trying to push above 516.5. The chart looks bullish, and this thing has more potential, in my personal opinion. But the question is, what's been happening in my previous videos? I want to give you guys a little update on that before I break down these charts. So, looking at them, in my video from yesterday, I was talking about how there was a falling wedge developing on SPY. I also called more downside. This was actually yesterday when I was talking about our target of 508.5. That's exactly where SPY ended up bouncing at. So these videos were quite accurate, right? The falling wedge I called out was also accurate. You guys can see right here, there was this falling wedge. I kept this the same since yesterday. I said that this might lead to a breakout thanks to CPI as well. So in my video yesterday, I said there would likely be a bounce coming to the markets, and this was correct as SPY went to 515, at least 515, and that ended up panning out very nicely thanks to CPI. But I did make a blunder. I want to call out my mistake, and that was in my pre-market video. I thought that a trap was forming on SPY, and the way this looked was I had thought that in the morning, basically, SPY had this like little drop when CPI came out, then it popped very nicely. And I was worried that, wait a second, we hit 515, we're getting some signals it's going to come down. So I was worried that SPY would actually show some weakness and come back down. And I was worried about this downside that was coming. But I didn't really acknowledge the fact that this would actually kind of like drop and then bounce afterwards and start to continue to push. I did acknowledge that in my later video, right? This video that I just released 3 hours ago, my penultimate video, my second to last video, I did talk about that move. So I did correct my mistake, but I just want to call it out. And here's the very important thing about this. I want to ask you a question, that is, how accurate do you think my videos are? In the last couple of weeks, you've been watching my channel. And that's up to you to decide. I'm not here to shove anything down your throats or force you to believe anything. You could believe I'm accurate, you could believe I'm inaccurate. It's up to you. I respect that. My job is just to simply give you guys as accurate and as sufficient of an analysis as I possibly can. I just want to be as honest and transparent too. But just remember, there's no one on the face of this planet that could be right 100% time about the markets. And simultaneously, you have to remember that I'm a human. I make mistakes. We all make mistakes. It happens. But the best thing is, what could we do from these mistakes? What could we learn from them? And how could we improve going forward? That's something I'm going to look into as well. All right. So, yeah, sometimes I do make mistakes. I could be wrong, right? Everyone is wrong when it comes to trades. Sometimes it happens to everyone. But I want to acknowledge it. I want to be transparent. I want to be honest and let you guys know that despite that, I did try to come back and tell you guys about this move that was coming. And I just want to be honest about how SPY is looking now and just continue to do the best I can. All right. So, anyways, how on earth is the market looking? In my opinion, SPY is looking bullish right now. It's still continuing to push. There's no sign of a break, especially when you look at the larger time frames as it's continuing to build steam. What's good about this is the 4 hour just barely got a PPO crossover to the upside. So it has more potential upside and hasn't really stopped at 516.5. It just broke this high right here. So it could keep going. And there's a possibility it tries to break this high. This means that instead of SPY continuing to fall, this thing might not establish a lower high. It could try to break the all-time high or even approach it. There is potential for it to push even higher, guys. So I just wanted to warn you about that, to be very careful if you're trying to short or anything like that. So SPY has potential. It could try to push a little higher, but I'm going to warn you to watch resistance as we get closer to this like 517 to 517.5 area. Then above that, we have 518. That entire area is going to be tight because that's some tough resistance. And the last time we hit 518, we got a big rejection. So the higher SPY goes, the more tough resistance is going to get. I want to warn you about that. But right now, it's not rejecting. It's still trying to fight the resistance. It's still trying to push upwards. So the chart still remains bullish for the time being. How about for the QQQ? Well, the QQQ is not as high as SPY is, but there is potential for this to push higher thanks to this cup-like structure. It's a breakout from the falling wedge and an inverse head and shoulders, which is a confluence of bullish indicators. The QQQ is pushing towards 443 to 443.5. If we break this, there's 444 and then 446 coming. And if we get above that, we could approach the all-time high in the 448 area. For support, watch 442. followed by 440. Overall, the chart is looking quite bullish. It's fighting this 443 area. It's kind of tight at this resistance, but it has potential to try to push higher. There's no sign of this breaking yet, and it still has potential in my honest opinion. So looking at the QQQ, it's still bullish overall. It's flipped back to bullish. It's about to get a bullish crossover on the PPO. It might push more even tomorrow. So the chart still remains quite strong and things are flipping very, very quickly. Remember, the market was dropping really hard, which is why I was talking about the drops yesterday, but I did talk about a bounce coming. And that's what's happening. The market just flips directions pretty quickly sometimes. So it is what it is. On to the QQQ, okay? The QQQ right here is on a nice uptrend. It started off a little bit weaker yesterday. It was kind of consolidating during the pre-market. Now we got this break. So we're going to be watching support at 190. Not 190, excuse me, 900. I don't know why I said 190. 900 is going to be our support. We have 908 as resistance, 915. And we have our support to be watched for at 900 and then 892, followed by 885. Overall, we're trying to hold 900 quite well. There is potential for this to push as well up to 908, but I believe it's going to shuffle a little bit in this 900 area, not really be too volatile. I think much of the volatility is kind of done for the day, but there is some potential for it to push a little bit higher. Now, we also have Tesla before I talk about Apple. Tesla is now showing some strength, is starting to play a game of catch up with the markets. We got this big drop because of bearish news that came out from Deutsche Bank, kind of downgrading their estimates on Tesla. But there's been a lot of news involving Elon Musk coming out about how he's going to be going to Germany and more updates from Germany. So it's kind of good news for Tesla. Tesla's trying to follow the trend. We're approaching our resistance. We've been shuffling at the 178 area throughout the entire day, and now we're pushing for 180, which is a good sign. This is going to be a tight resistance, so we'll see how Tesla reacts to this. If we do break 180, 182 is a possibility. But in my opinion, I think that it's not going to make a massive move. I think it could push towards 180, but we're going to see a lot of sideways price action between 178 to 180. And then going into tomorrow, depending on the news, there could be a bigger move coming. So watch and see how that goes. But for now, I do think we could get very close to 180. We could shuffle a bit. So Tesla's looking quite decent, and we'll see how well it holds. For Apple, in my opinion, is looking quite decent. It's actually gaining some strength finally. So Apple had this yellow trend line. I kind of fixed up the chart a bit for you guys. We were basically bouncing off the yellow line over and over again. We broke it today after CPI came out, then we broke above it. We start to consolidate a little bit, and now we're actually pushing back up to 174. So the chart is showing some strength. It's actually getting bought up at higher levels. It's also respecting an uptrend, so I do see potential for 174 to be tested. And if we break this, I think 175 174.6 and 175 are going to be our next targets. That's where we have this gap to fill. If it breaks down, watch 175.75, 176.5, and then we could get very close to 178 above that. For support, watch the yellow trend line, which happens to be around currently 173.3. If we lose this, watch 172.5 and 170.9. Overall, the chart is bullish. It looks like Apple's going to try to fight and maybe consolidate a bit around this 174 area, but later on it could actually push higher again, and we could see another pump in the stock. So I could see more upside for Apple later on. For today, it might consolidate around 174, but overall it's showing some life. SPY is still holding up very well around this 516.5 area, not looking too bad. Tesla's gaining some steam. Super micro, I talked about how this thing could break 1150. I talked about this in my earlier video. It's starting to do so, gaining some good momentum. We have an imbalance to fill as well. I could see this thing try to push up towards 1180, and then we have 1200 above that. For a few others, Microsoft, we were talking about how this is looking bullish. We've broken our resistance at 410, and now we're trying to push all the way up towards 416 all over again. Our target's going to be 417, which is where the high was. I could see Microsoft making a full recovery. This thing is looking pretty good. AMD, nice push, looking pretty decent, finally getting a bounce, but we're going to be watching resistance at just about 203.5. We'll see if we can try to get up there. It does have potential to push a little bit higher. And then on top of this, the VIX, it tried to bounce, then it got a big rejection yesterday, and then we just got a follow through move down. We have this gap to fill below, which suggests the market may push higher, causing the VIX to drop even more. So the VIX is looking bearish, which is a good sign for the markets. Coinbase came down, but now it's trying to bounce. We're going to be looking to see if we could try to retest 260. If this breaks, we could be pushing for 267. I think Coinbase is showing some life at 255, so it could try to keep going. Amazon, although it had a head and shoulders like structure, I talked about how we need to see a clean break of 172 for me to turn bearish. We haven't broken this yet. We are trying to rebound a bit, but we're now stuck at the 175 area, kind of shuffling. So we'll see how Amazon does here. It's kind of showing some strength. I wouldn't say the head and shoulders isn't valid yet. We'll just have to wait and see if we get a break later on. But so far, it's holding up well. And Meta, as we predicted, Our target was 497, then 500. That's where Meta ended up going to. That was in my penultimate video. We're getting that nice bounce. Going to be looking for a test of basically it's 497, very close to the 20 EMA. Then we have 500 above that. It's kind of shuffling in that range. Anyways, SPY is still showing some strength, holding up decently. We'll see if this move could continue, especially going into tomorrow. We're getting a bullish crossover on the PPO, so that market is showing some strength. So that being said, guys, do what you have to do. This is your forecast for the market thus far. And please always try to improve yourselves. That's what I'm trying to do on a daily basis. Do what's best for your own portfolios, and I'll see you guys very soon on the next one. Thank you, and peace out.